Right. So Ashton Wilson at the plate to lead things off for the Gators, making his third career start, all of which have come in this series. Forced into duty after massive injuries for the Gators in the outfield, losing Ty Evans last weekend against Kentucky to a broken wrist. And then Hayden Yost, their outfielder who suffered an ACL injury in practice here at Foley Field on Wednesday night. Here's the 1-0 from Harris, and it's in there for a strike, and it's 1-1. Harris at 5-0 on the season, making his 18th appearance of the season and his fifth start. 6.31 ERA. Don't let the numbers fool you, though. He has really been good since making a start against Kennesaw State at the end of April. He struck out a career high in that start against Kennesaw State, and he has been rolling ever since. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Wilson. Great crowd gathering here for Senior Day and the finale. And that ball is lifted into center field. Dylan Carter, the center fielder, back out there today, has it for out number 1. So the Dogs have Gonzalez behind the plate, Condon back at first, Alford in the opener. I think it is the exact same lineup they had in the opener, which the Bulldogs won 9-4. And here's Caglione. Man, he gets underneath that. That is a moonshot. But Collins has it just in front of the track. He hit that a mile in the air.
A mile in the air. Well, he was putting a show on in batting practice. He had a ball just had everybody kind of stop and admire. A couple of them cleared several fences out there in right field. That one just underneath. That would have gone a mile had he just been a little bit more on top of it.
And here's Shelton, the shortstop. Colby Shelton at 257 on the season. 1 for 7 in the series. Pitch outside the zone. It's 1-0 to Shelton. Alabama transfer. 18 home runs, 44 RBI. OPS right at 950. Been on base twice in addition to that single. Had a walk in the series. 1-0 pitch from Harris. Away, 2-0. Dogs playing for their 40th win today. They're 39-13. Had their 9-game winning streak, 8-game SEC winning streak snapped in extra innings yesterday afternoon. 2-0 pitch from Harris. Swing and a miss at the fastball. 2-1. Harris out of Cambridge High School in Milton, Georgia, just north of Atlanta. Freshman season played at Georgia Southern. Not a big guy at 6'1", 193, but has a pretty decent fastball at 93 right there.
He's got great hand speed. You know, like that's what makes his slider good, and that's what makes his changeup good as well. And the big difference I feel like for Harris here as of late is the command of those off-speed pitches.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Shelton. Kind of gets up there on the mound and rocks back and forth. It's going to be ball 3. How about this delivery with him? He gets on the side of the rubber, right side of the rubber for him, and then he kind of goes through this motion where he rocks his elbow up and down.
That little chicken way.
Yeah, about 3 times, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it looked like 2, and now he's kind of rocking back and forth on the front of his feet. Ball in the air, should be the 3rd out of the inning. That's who takes it. Alford and Condon there. Condon calls it off, and now it's Branch who takes it for the final out of the inning. 3.
So a couple of good options for the Dogs out in center field.
Here's Collins. Chadwick's play was the number 2 play on SportsCenter Top 10 this morning. Leaping catch at the wall. He said he knew right away. We saw him in the dugout, talked about it with him. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Collins. because sometimes the outfielders have to look inside the glove to see if they have it. He said, no, I felt it in my glove right away. But it was not immediately apparent to us. We had to look to the umpire to see if he was signaled out. So you can go back there and check it out on SportsCenter Top 10, or you'll find it on social media. It's out there on Twitter as well if you missed it in live time yesterday. 3 balls, no strikes to Collins. And that's a 4-pitch walk for Collins. So if there's anything, a chink in the armor, if you will, for Caglione as a pitcher, that is his 41st walk in 59 2/3.
Yeah, we've been talking a little bit. We had a chance to ask Sully, too. Where do you see him at that next level having success? You think he gets drafted as a pitcher, as a hitter, and he just, without hesitation, said hitter is the type of guy projects hit 40 home runs a year for you at the big league level. And on the mound, the stuff is good, but it's not dominant as other options you might have. Right. From
it's
that
college good.
level.
It's probably bullpen good.
Right.
At the major league level, and you got lots of left-handers you can bring out of the bullpen, but how many of them can hit 40 home runs for you?
Right. Exactly.
And if you're just a bullpen guy, that means you got to be hot every day.
Right.
So it kind of takes you out of the lineup. 1 ball, 1 strike to Condon. Here's the matchup we all been waiting for. Cags versus Condon. Missed inside 2-1, so Cags having some trouble with control. 6 of his first 7 pitches have been balls. Two 1 pitch. Breezes it by him at 92, and it's 2-2. But after watching him in BP today, you're right. I mean, my gosh, why would you pitch him? I mean,
he does some special stuff with the bat.
He's hitting the ball over the trees in center field. Ball 3 to Condon. Three balls and 2 strikes to Charlie Condon. Hot shot, going to be a foul ball down the left field line, going to go past the bullpen of the Gators down there. Florida at 27-26. They are 12-17 in the SEC. But I believe most everybody believes if they can get to 13 wins, they're going to get in an NCAA regional. Hot shot gets by the first baseman, Heyman. Collins touches second. It's down in the corner. Let's see. They're going to stop Collins at third. Condon has a double. Second and third for the Dogs, and nobody out in the first.
I think that's the impressive thing that Charlie's able to do. He kind of went foul line to foul line. You saw him pull the changeup in down the left field line foul there. He's a little bit beat on a fastball elevated, but gets enough of it. 102 off the bat. Able to get it by the outstretched arm of Heyman over there at first base. You gotta remember, he was covering first with Collins being there. That's how hard that ball was hit. Didn't have time to react, knock it down. Ball was by him before he left.
19th double of the season for Charlie Collins. Chance to give the Dogs an early lead right here. Swings and fouls off the first pitch from Caglione. Bulldogs, with runners in scoring position, haven't been great. Even though they've won one of the first 2 games, just 3 for 21 in this situation. What we got going on here?
I think Caglione was ready to pitch before Phelps had settled into the box, so.
Scott Klein is the home plate umpire today. Michael Carroll at first base. Ronnie Teague at second, and Brandon Bennett is down the third base line. 0-1 pitch to Phelps, going to bounce it foul. Defensively, a little bit different for the Gators with Caglione now on the mound. That means Heyman's at first base today, and Done is behind the plate. Then the rest of it's the same. Curlin at second, Shelton at short, Thomas at third, Shelnut in left, Robertson in center, and Wilson in right. The 0-2 pitch way outside, and Done has it bounce out of his glove. We're excited to see Done catch. I mean, he's a giant, 6'5".
He's huge.
I mean, look at him back there. He dwarfs the home plate umpire, and he's not even standing up straight. He is gigantic.
Down, he comes up to Scott Klein's chest there.
He is. He's almost as tall as he is down on one knee. 1-2 pitch outside, and it's 2-2. I mean, I looked at him, I'm like, how could he be a catcher? It's being so big. I mean, to me, he looks like a first baseman.
Yeah, no doubt.
But he's been able to do it. He's been their number 2 catcher behind Heyman, who's at first base with Caglione on the mound today. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Phelps, fouled back to the screen. So it should be a wild day. Final day in the SEC regular season, so much on the line. Not necessarily as far as the SEC tournament, all that's settled except for the seeding. But as far as teams and NCAA regional hopes, there's so much on the line today. 2-2 pitch, bouncer to the second baseman, Curlin. Going to throw out Phelps. Collins is going to score, and Georgia has a 1-0 lead.
Great at bat right there from Phelps. Battled a few pitches off after falling behind, but made sure that he got the ball in play behind the runner at second base and Condon to get the runner in from third, and Condon over to third in scoring position in less than 2 outs. So you have to Slade Alford here to put something in play. They're going to bring the infield in here early.
Wow. So Condon's now at third after the bounce out by Phelps, and Alford takes a first pitch strike. You surprised the infield in on the grass?
I am. This early on, I am surprised.
Here's the 0-1 to Alford, fouled out of play. Dogs now 3 for 22, runners in scoring position. So that goes as an out in the books, but it's a productive out because it scored a run. There needs to be an adjusted runners in scoring position.
Yeah, like success rate.
Yeah, because that number, that raw number does not necessarily tell the story.
It does.
How many of the 19 outs and the 3 for 22 were productive outs?
Right. That 17 left on number is tough, though. And look, it played perfectly.
They had it well, and Heyman's touches first base for the out, 2 down. So Alford can't advance Condon. Now 2 outs, and Condon still at third for Paul Tates. Tates had a big night in the opener, and he's 4 for 7, batting .571 in the series. 3 runs scored, a homer and 3 RBI, 7 total bases, swings and misses. And it's 0-1 to Tates. So that visit by Sully was apparently, to this point, very effective because the Dogs had second and third, nobody out. And now it's 1 run in, runner at third and 2 outs.
Yeah, well, and Cag was getting behind on first 2 hitters in Collins and Condon. Able to get ahead of Phelps, and then Alford, and now Tates.
0-2 pitch hit on the ground to Shelton. Should be the final out of the inning, and it is. But
An at-large bid. I think the team is good enough, RPI and all that other, all those other numbers that matter. I think they're good enough to be in a regional, but will they be above that 500 mark?
Heyman goes after the first pitch from Harris and fouls it out of play. So right now, Florida, on the strength of their victory yesterday, their RPI is 25. And their strength of schedule remains number 1. So those are all great numbers. But you got history to work. You got to get to that 13 wins. And that's 13 wins in the regular season. But what I think this does spell out for SEC fans is the SEC tournament is going to be crazy. You got all those teams, and those are perennial national championship teams.
Yeah.
Going to be fighting for their lives in Hoover.
That should be exciting.
No balls, 2 strikes to Heyman. Fouled back our way. And the Gators have just had so many close losses, 1-run losses, 4-8 overall, 3-7. That's 10 SEC 1-run games they played, and they've lost 7 of them. 3 of those were all in the Missouri series, which, you know, Sully brought that up when we were talking to him today. Wow, that Missouri series really has come back to haunt them.
He felt like they had a really good chance at winning the series at Arkansas as well.
Here's the 0-2 pitch from Harris. It's fouled out of play. All that said, he remains confident, and I share his confidence. If they can get a win today and get to 13 because of their RPI, they'll be 2 games over 500. That means they're protected going to the SEC tournament from falling below 500. I think they're in.
Yeah, and if they can't, if Georgia prevails today, they'll have to win 3 ball games in that SEC tournament.
Called strike, 3, and Heyman is out.
Kind of a backup slider there. Gonzo didn't catch it great, but he held it. I think that's important.
If he doesn't hold that, that's probably not a strike, right?
Yeah, gave Klein a good look at it. You know, umpire always sets up on that inside shoulder, so he sees it coming right at him. He's got a good view of the plate as well. So a misexecuted pitch from Harris, but a good job by Gonzalez and staying with it.
Here's Cade Kurland. He had a 2-run homer yesterday. Man, it was huge, too.
Yeah.
2-run homer in the 8th inning that tied the game at 4. Set the table for Heyman to hit the 3-run homer in the top of the 10th that ended up being the game winner for the Gators. One-0 pitch from Harris. You might notice Harris has a black eye. Your television set is not deceiving you. His left eye, that is a black eye. At first I thought it was eye black, but no, indeed it is a black eye. Got hit by the baseball yesterday. Don't know how that happened, but he got hit by a baseball yesterday, and he's got a black eye. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Popped up. Carter in center field has it for out number 2. Florida Gators resume, this is what we've been talking about. 25 is the RPI, number 1 strength of schedule, 12-17 against the RPI top 50 or quad 1 games for them. And the key component there, that the one of the things that Sully kept stressing when we were talking to him was that overall record. You got to be 500 or better to get in the NCAA tournament as an at-large. So they really need the win today for that just as much as they need the 13th win. Shelnut at the plate. Crowd has not forgotten. Had a controversial play here yesterday involving Henry Hunter, the Georgia catcher, and he was batting. And there was a play very similar to that he felt he had fouled off his front foot, but the home plate umpire, Brandon Bennett, said it was a fair ball. He was thrown out easily at first base, and then Hunter said a few choice words and got ejected from the game, which means he can't play today. He's suspended for today's game, too.
It looks like Ronnie Teague, who's umpiring seconds, giving Brandon Bennett a little bit of a hard time out there as the crowd grumbles.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. That's in there for a strike, and it's 0-2. Bouncer, good play by Murillo. Throws him out, inning over. 6 up and 6 down for Zach Harris.
Late back in Starkville, Mississippi State. That was the 3rd weekend of the year, I believe.
Yeah, I believe so. It was because the Alabama series was the 2nd weekend.
That's
that was
right.
the last time he had been in the starting lineup. Saw him yesterday as I came into the underground tunnel there, and they were in the BP batting cages underneath, and had a big old smile on his face, man. When I said some nice swings, man, he was feeling good. It was tough for him. He was out a long time with that knee injury. Might have been some doubt as to whether he was going to make it back. Of course, he was one of the guys, one of the seniors represented today in our Senior Day festivities. Kurland throws him out number 1. So we got action underway. 3 games are actually already underway in the SEC right now. And a little bit of a surprise, Vanderbilt has a 6-2 lead on Kentucky in the top of the 7th, and Tennessee leads South Carolina 3-0 in the bottom of the 5th. LSU a 2-0 lead on Ole Miss. That's in the top of the 2nd. So the stories to go along with those scores in just a moment as Murillo stands in and takes a strike. So if Vandy does beat Kentucky and Tennessee beats South Carolina as the scores are going right now, those two teams would share the SEC regular season championship. Kentucky would be the #1 seed in the tournament by virtue of the tiebreaker. But Kentucky was going for their first outright championship today as that ball was smoked to right field but foul. Kentucky has won only one SEC championship, a co-championship in 2006. In fact, they did it right here on this field when you were a player. You're shaking your head right now.
Still upset about that one.
That was the only Southeastern Conference regular season title they've ever won. John Cohen, who's now the athletics director at Auburn, was the head coach at the time. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Murillo. They did. They won it right here on this field, and they were going for the outright today, and they still can get it, but they're going to have to come back. They're down 4 runs to Vanderbilt and getting late. The other stories developing there is Vanderbilt, if they could get the win, they would get to that 13th win that we've been talking so much about this weekend. LSU leads Ole Miss. If LSU can get that, they get to that 13th win. Here's the 2-2 pitch, fouled out of play. And if Tennessee beats South Carolina, that means the Gamecocks will have finished the season on a 6-game losing streak and would be stuck on 13 wins.
Yeah, that would be tough. That's a tough one right there. I feel like finishing that poorly, there was a team with 13 to get left out. I think that would be the candidate for it.
Yeah, a team that's been swept in back-to-back weekends in the SEC, right?
Especially
and one of those was at home.
At home, yeah.
Against Georgia. So here's the 3-2 pitch from Caglione. It's fouled out of play.
Heck of an at-bat here from Murillo.
Murillo, another one of the seniors. The transfer from Long Beach State where he played for the Dirtbags. 3-2 pitch. Outside, ball 4. Murillo aboard. What a at-bat for him. At 5 out of 6. Well, actually, the Ole Miss series has already been won. They're going for the sweep today. Here's Fernando Gonzalez, another one of the seniors. Dogs 1-0 lead as they bat here in the bottom of the 2nd. Matt Stewart along with Jason Jacobs. Thanks for joining us as JJ and I wrap up our 10th season together. That's hard to believe, isn't it?
You blink your eyes. Decade.
Our 10th season together. Holy here cow. On SEC Network Plus.
Well, we both haven't aged a day. That's all I know.
Yeah, I know.
It feels like 10 years ago when we started.
Exactly. We're still just as young and full of vigor as we were back then. Murillo with his lead, not going anywhere. Gonzalez takes a strike, and it's 3-1. 3 balls and a strike. Snap throw over, chases back Murillo. Dogs won the opener of the series 9-4. Gators 7-4 winners in 10 yesterday. Hot shot, nice play by Shelton. Gets the out at second. Oh, he's safe. Murillo beat the throw. And I think the Gators will be challenging that.
Heck of a play there by Shelton, though. That ball's screaming out there. He's playing double play depth, has to range to his right. Lost the shades. I had him out, too, from up here. I was kind of shocked at the safe call, but that ball's smoked. Yeah, they're going to go ahead and challenge that. We'll see.
Yeah, I thought, to the naked eye, as they like to say, I thought he was out. And he is safe.
He was.
He beat it.
Right there. A lot of times you see the runner's foot maybe above the bag, but Murillo slid right into the bag, got it.
Did not slide over it.
Did not slide over it.
So I think that call will stand as safe as made by the second base umpire, Ronnie Teague.
Kudos to Ronnie Teague being right on top of it.
Yeah. because, like you said, we both thought it was out from up here.
After review, the safe call at second base is confirmed. Florida has one challenge remaining for the game.
So Gonzo gets a single there. Well deserved. I don't think
They're going to score the fielder's choice.
Are they going to?
Yeah, not going to give him a single on that. That's a tough play because if Shelton hops up and throws, do you think he gets Gonzalez?
I don't.
I don't either. That's a tough call for Gonzalez right there. It's senior day. Give him a single.
Yeah, I think they did because they got two hits up on the board. So
Well, I'm looking at our stats monitor
on
here
the stat monitor. Okay.
in our booth, and it says fielder's choice. Here's Colby Branch, number 9 hitter for the Dogs. Bounces away. Everybody moves up 90 feet. So now 2 in scoring position for Colby Branch, and the count is 2-0. They're calling that a pass ball. 2-0 pitch. Now it's 3-0.
Caglione just falling behind. We saw he was very effective when getting ahead. Fell behind Collins and Condon early on. And after that at bat from Murillo, just fouling those pitches off. Hasn't quite looked the same. A little bit off his game.
The bases are loaded. That's the 3rd walk for Caglione. One time through the order. Walk Collins, walk Murillo, and walk Branch. Bases loaded for Corey Collins. 1 out, and Charlie Condon's on deck. Man, you are swimming in shark-infested waters right here.
You sure are.
Well, this will give us a great chance to look at Caglione in a pressure situation. Certainly not a game-ending situation, but a big pivotal moment early in this game with the bases loaded for the Dogs. Collins goes after the first pitch and fouls it out of play. So the lefty-on-lefty matchup here, and Caglione's out pitch is the changeup. If you're Collins, what are you looking at here?
Looking for something up in the zone. You can drive to the outfield. You swing and miss. You strike out. That's fine. Because of who you got hitting behind you. Definitely don't want to hit into a ground ball double play.
Might be hard to turn the double play, right, with the shift? The 0-2, tap foul.
Might be, but
It depends on where it's hit, yeah.
Shelton is right there behind second base. I don't think it would be too hard. Collins runs well, but he's definitely a double play candidate.
0-2, got him, struck him out. So Caglione went right at him and retires him for the second out. And here we go. This is what the people paid to see right here.
Yes, it is.
Caglione versus Condon with the bases loaded early in this game. Pivotal, crucial moment. Strike 1 to Condon. When will he see a fastball at all?
They've been beating him a little bit on the fastball. He was beat on that last at bat with the fastball, just good enough to keep it fair.
1 ball, 1 strike. Caglione peers in. Breaking ball on that back foot. Got him to swing and miss. It's 1-2. 1-2 pitch from Caglione. Hot shot in the hole, base hit. Murillo scores. Here comes Gonzalez. He will score. It's going to be cut off. 3-0 Georgia. 2 RBI for Charlie Condon. He wins the first big 74 for Condon. He's number 2 in the conference as Trey Phelps steps up there. Condon now 5 RBI behind conference leader Braden Montgomery of Texas A&M. So much talent in this league. It's crazy. 1-0 pitch. Fouled off. Talking about Caglione and Condon, Montgomery. We mentioned in just those 3 names, maybe the top 3 of the top 5 picks in the MLB draft, and then Hagen Smith. And you and I were talking about that. The Arkansas pitcher, you and I kind of thinking he might be the number 1 pick.
Boy, that
We've been
outing
talking
he
about
had,
Condon, but Hayden Smith.
That outing he had against Texas A&M was just, he looked unhittable.
You know, I love Charlie, and I love watching Caglione, but when you're talking about a pitcher, a guy they say could be in the majors, major league ready already, how can you not take him number 1 with the draft? Here's the 1-2 to Phelps. Swings and misses, and Caglione limits the damage, but Condon gets a big 2-run.
Having himself a good start to this last home game in the regular season.
Having some hidden gems here in this game. I mean, the box score is not going to show a whole lot by his name, but he's had some big plays, no doubt.
That was huge. That at bat, just in general, I mean, felt like Caglione was kind of settling in after getting off to a rough start. First 2 batters reaching. Pitched out of it, only gave up 1, but then Murillo came out after Carter was retired and put together a good long at bat.
Here's Donay. Counts 1-1 to him. I want to correct myself. Kentucky has clinched a share of the championship. Tennessee with a win today not only would share that championship with them, but Tennessee would get the number 1 seed because the Volunteers won 2 out of 3 from the Wildcats during the regular season. I had it the other way around. I thought it was Kentucky that had won the season series, but it's Tennessee that did. So the Volunteers are playing for a chance to be the number 1 seed in the SEC tournament today. They are the number 1 ranked team in the country. Here's the 1-2 from Harris, missed high. I mean, they were having a great time. I was watching some of that Kentucky game last night, and it was pouring rain. It was a miserable game at Kentucky Proud Park, but they shot off the fireworks and posed for pictures and all that kind of stuff after they won the game last night. Swing and a miss. Donay goes down. 2 strikeouts for Harris now.
Harris right there. He goes with the changeup. See the bottom fall out late on that pitch. Been a big difference maker for him. Just the command of that changeup and that slider for a strike.
Here's Del Thomas. First pitch to Thomas is a ball high and in. He's 0 for 8 in the series, struck out 3 times, and survived a really big mistake on the base paths yesterday. They were able to actually get a run out of the inning. I mean, he really botched it pretty good, but Georgia didn't handle the play well enough, and he was able to get back to first base after he'd wandered off the bag thinking that it was ball 4.
It's kind of the turning point in that ball game. Georgia's hanging on to that lead. And really had 2 chances to get out of that inning before the game-tying home run showed up.
Wish you could have seen Sully's face when we asked him about it.
Talking about changing fonts on the scoreboard to make sure he knew what the count was.
Can we make the balls and strikes bigger for you? It was funny. It's funny to talk to him. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Ball hit in the air. Tate's drifting around back there, looking to camp under it, and does for out number 2. How about this guy, Michael Robertson, at the bottom of the order? He has been huge for the Gators this weekend.
Yeah, 3 knocks in last night's game, or yesterday's game. Slow game 1, but it was really pretty mischievous on the bat paths as well, or the base paths as well. He's got good game-changing type speed out there when he gets on.
Ball 1 from Harris, and plus, you know, Robertson and Wilson now. Robertson in center, Wilson in right. I mean, they played good defensively for them, and that had been a little bit of a problem for them in the Kentucky series. with some misadventures in the outfield that cost him some runs against the Wildcats. One 0 pitch in there for a strike. It's 1-1. Harrison, his last start here at Foldy Field against Vanderbilt on May 5th, 4 scoreless, hitless innings with 5 strikeouts. Outside 2-1. He had a pretty good week that week. He started against Kennesaw State that week and went 3 innings of scoreless, hitless, and then went 4 innings of scoreless, hitless against Vanderbilt. So he completed the week with 7 scoreless, hitless innings as a starting pitcher. Here's the 2-1 pitch from Harris. In there for a strike, and it's 2-2. Two from Harris, ball 3. Yeah, Robertson's proven to be a tough out in this series for Georgia pitchers. 3 for 8, double, RBI. This from a young man who's 238 on the season with 1 homer and 15 RBI. Hot shot right at Murillo. There he is again, Sebastian in the mix early in 33, so these guys have seen a lot here.
Yeah,
not all of it good, some of it not so
sure.
good, but they've been through the battle and they've hung with it, and they're reaping that reward here in their senior season.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting just catching up with Sully on Thursday, how he talked about the value of having some seniority out there, and then you see all the seniors that Georgia has out there today and the experience they've brought. It's really kind of turned the program around for the better here in this 2024 campaign, especially down the stretch. It felt like for the last couple of years, Georgia was in position to make a push and a run into the postseason and just kind of fell short.
I think you're going to see a lot of change, and Florida's kind of one of those programs that it was always, go get the biggest, highly touted freshmen, bring them in. Some of them are ready to play. Some of them aren't quite ready to play. As Alford cranks this one to center field, but Robertson has it measured out there for out number 1. What you're starting to see, and I think the most vivid example of that for us was when A&M came in here a couple of years ago.
That's right.
And Schlossnagle went out there and just, he took over the program from Childress. There's huge upheaval in the roster. He just went out there and just got a bunch of veteran dudes.
And they went
to the World Series.
Yeah, a lot like Georgia. They took off there about the halfway point of the season as Tates gets into one again.
Toward the gap, and it's high off the wall. Bangs off that wall, and Tates has a double. Paul Tates just swinging a mammoth bat in this series. That's hit number 5 for him.
Yeah, getting up to that letter high pitch, too, doing a good job. We mentioned him struggling with velocity early on, the adjustment to the velocity. That pitch, letter high, looked like just a hanging cutter in on the hands, didn't quite cut enough. Left it out over the dish and just missed a home run by mere inches, hitting off the top of that wall out there in left center field.
9th double of the season for Tates, and the 54th of his career. 45 of them came with Purdue. And he is the active career leader in doubles in the Southeastern Conference. Dylan Carter up there, grounded out to second his first time up. There's a strike, and it's 1-1 to Carter. Another one of the seniors that actually, in their first year with the Dogs, he came to Georgia from Texas Tech. 1-1 pitch, fouled back. He's got a lumberjack beard. Don't you call that? That's a lumberjack beard.
Yeah, early on in the season, just had the Yosemite Sam handlebars, but he's let the rest of it kind of catch up.
And it's got some red tint, so it is some Yosemite
he's
Sam.
got it.
He's got some Yosemite Sam there.
Very
You look at Corey Collins. Corey Collins has that kind of like magazine beard.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. He's that's more of a lumberjack Yosemite Sam beard. 2-2 pitch outside, 3-2 to Dylan Carter.
No, but back to what we were talking about with the portal and maybe looking for some of those older guys, not necessarily the superstars to transfer, but the right mix of seniority and experience. I think talking with Maracda, they were kind of saying, were you looking for a place you could come and start or close? And he said, I just wanted to win. In his senior year, he just wanted to be a part of a program that had a shot to go deep into the postseason. And it's really been...
Sully's looking back at the box score from Friday night as Murillo stands in. It looks like Jamison faced Gonzalez and Carter and Murillo and Branch before being lifted. So 4 batters. Murillo singled off of him on Thursday night. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, and it's 0-2. Yeah, he came in, and Gonzalez immediately got a double off him, knocking in an inherited runner. Struck out Carter, single given up to Murillo, fly out Branch, and then he was lifted. Time clock violation. They're going to call a strike on Murillo and strike 3. I'd have to see what happened again, but the home plate umpire, Klein, pointed to his wrist like the clock and called it 3rd strike.
Yeah, Murillo wasn't in the box in time.
Here's Gonzalez, and Gonzalez goes around. So the clock was at 7 seconds, so it was a case where Murillo wasn't, in the batter's box and ready to go in time, even though the clock had not expired to 0. And there's a strike to Gonzalez. It's now 0-2. Ball 1. So that officially goes down in the scorebook as a caught looking, a strikeout looking. Two aboard for the Dogs. Carter at first, Tate's at second. Gonzalez gets a piece of it to stay alive. 2 down in the inning. Tate's had the 1-out double to get this rally started. Then Carter walked. Then Kevin O'Sullivan made the pitching change, bringing in Jamison for Caglione, who stays in the game as the DH, by the way. 1-2 pitch. Missed low, 2-2. Gonzalez at 12 homers, 39 RBI on the season, 21 career home runs. His last one coming in the 14-10 win at South Carolina, and he gets hit by the pitch on the forearm. That's Smarts. Bases are loaded.
Kind of holding your breath here a little bit, see where that got him. Did it get him in the wrist or the forearm? Looked like the forearm.
The back forearm.
It doesn't feel good, but as long as it's not right there around the wrist.
Yeah, it wasn't on the wrist. It was on kind of the meaty part of the inside forearm. Still stings. Bases loaded for Branch. Swing and a miss by Branch. 0-1 to Branch. 15 home runs on the season. Hasn't hit one for a couple of weeks. Last one came in that 14-4 8-inning win against Vandy. Sends this one in the air over on the right side. Heyman calls for it. Right there on the line, has it. Bulldogs can't bring in the bats before Caglione comes to the plate. Harris has now gone 7 consecutive innings here at Foley Field in SEC games without giving up a hit.
He's been solid, really. You mentioned kind of his coming out party there against Kennesaw State a few weeks ago. He got the start against Vandy. He's pitched well at Foley Field.
Things brightening up here a little bit. Sun trying to crack through. It counts 1-1 to Wilson. Harris, believe it or not, 6'1", 193. He was an outstanding high school quarterback at Cambridge High School. Led the Bears to a dramatic victory in one of the greatest regular season games we've ever televised on GPB Sports. They were down 10 with less than 2 to play. Got a touchdown, recovered an onside kick, kicked a field goal on the final play to tie it, send it to overtime, and then they won it in overtime. And he's a great passer, and he's a good, tough runner, too. I thought at the time he had a chance to go play college quarterback if he wanted to. Not at the Power 5 level, but if he wanted to be a quarterback in college, he could have been. Just a tough athlete. Pretty good pitcher, too. 1-2 pitch. Line drive, and it's by Alford into right field. First hit of the game for the Gators. Took him once through the order to get it.
Yeah, it looked like a slider stayed arm side. A good job there by Wilson. Caglione will get his shot now with a runner on.
Look how much of the box he takes up, the entire box.
And I think that contributes to his lack of swing and miss. Strike zone's a little bit smaller because he's so wide, and it's just very simple. Not a lot of moving parts. Kind of a toe pick, and then he's in the zone ready.
Hot shot foul down the first base line. Let's get another look at that. What size are those battleships he's wearing on his feet?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
My gosh.
18, 20? I'm not sure. But he takes up that entire box.
Those
It's
are
just
some
real simple.
Shaq-like shoes, I think. Those are gigantic. Got huge coverage of the entire batter's box. 0-1 pitch outside.
And the fact that he generates that much power being that wide, it's, you know, I mean, obviously the wider your feet are apart, the harder it is to really turn those hips. But he has that flexibility and that torque that he's able to create. Like I said, just putting a show on in batting practice.
One pitch. And the thing you pointed out when we were talking to Sully before the game is he's a good base runner, too.
Yeah, he can
You
move.
don't see it very often, I guess because it's not necessary for him. But
He's usually jogging around the bases,
Yeah.
I think.
guy can run the bases, too. He's got pretty good instincts.
They had a couple of stolen bases in yesterday's ball game.
2 balls and a strike to Caglione. My goodness, Gators might be on top. They are. Goes over the scoreboard. Home run number 29 for Jack Caglione. That's what we were seeing in batting practice, except this isn't batting practice anymore.
Yeah, a little change up there from Harris State up in the zone. And again, with that wide stance, his bat stays through that zone for so long. A 2-1 changeup fading away. Just didn't quite fade enough. You see that plate coverage? Good top hand strength. Almost a half swing, almost slowed up just to make sure he got that on the barrel, and that ball went. So the first home run between Caglione and Condon that we've
Yeah.
seen.
So Condon's 1 down now. Caglione takes the lead. And the Gators are down a run to Georgia. 3-2 Georgia on top still. Sent that one right over the scoreboard. And that ball is struck well to center field. Carter goes back to the wall, and it's off of the wall and off of Carter. Shelton touches second, headed to third. triple for Shelton after the 2-run bomb by Caglione.
I think Carter was anticipating hitting the wall a little bit sooner. Kind of braced himself to hit off of it and then missed the catch. Would have been a difficult catch, a lot of ground to cover going back. The second time through the order, again, Gators making that adjustment.
Since going 0 for 9 with a couple of strikeouts the first time through, Wilson singles, Caglione hits a 2-run, 2 games, including the big home run in the 10th inning yesterday. Bats with Shelton at third base. It's 1-0. The Gators have been able to break through here against Harris in this inning. Missed inside, 2-0. You might have to get this guy to stay in the game, right?
He may.
Two balls, no strikes. Ground ball to Branch. That should tie the game, and it does. Heyman drives in the game tire, and it's knotted up at 3. 7th RBI of the series for Luke Heyman.
Playing the game, doing well. Making sure you get something in play in that situation. Don't give any momentum back to the pitcher. Go ahead and take care of that runner at third. Harris will get a clean slate to work with here.
Here's Curlin with the bases empty and just 1 out in the 4th. Missed inside to Curlin. Curlin flew out to center field his first time up, and he's 2 for 10 in the series. Strikes that one well. Gators might have the lead. They do. It's off the scoreboard. Second home run of the series for Curlin. Hit one yesterday in the 8th to tie the game. Hits one here in the 4th to put Florida on top 4-3.
Now, that was just a good piece of hit, and that's going to be it for Harris. But that's a good piece of hit. Not a bad fastball, down and away. He works back towards the middle a little bit there late.
Wow, what an inning for the Gators. 2-run homer from Caglione, triple from Shelton, solo homer from Curlin.
And you get a feeling that that second time around, they saw something in that first at bat, the way that they're squaring the balls up here.
What you call an in-game adjustment.
Yeah, first 4 to the first 4 guys squaring Harris up, and that'll lead to Roberge.
They're the faces from the Gators here in the top of the 4th. So what was the adjustment that the Gators were able to make after being held hitless by Harris the first time through the order? The second time through the order, they were on top of everything.
It looked to me like there was just a little bit better pitch recognition. Maybe that second time through. I'm not sure if Harris, with that set and the way that he does that elbow, if that gave something away, because he started varying that a little bit. But it just seemed like they were seeing the pitches a little bit better, picking up spin, picking up a release point. They definitely saw something that second time through and were on it. Granted, he made a couple of mistakes, just a little up in the zone and a little bit too much middle. But give the Gators a lot of credit. They went through the first time of that order, 9 up, 9 down, and it's much different the second time through.
Had to get the communication set for Roberge, and that ball is hit to left field. Not fooling him either. Shellnut touches first, heads to second, and that will be the 4th extra base hit of the inning for the Gators. Shelnut with his 16th double of the season. And it's his second hit of the series. And here's Done, who struck out his first time up. And hit him. First and second. Look at that. Second time through the order here between Harris and Robers. It's 5 for 6. 2 home runs.
And the one out was a hard ground ball to the shortstop and Branch. So.
Yep. 2 home runs, a double, a triple, 5 runs scored. Or 4 runs scored. 5 hits total. It's Del Thomas. 0 for 1 today and 0 for 9 in the series. Chance to get off the schneid right here with a base hit. Pitch clock was down to 4. Was that what that was about, you think?
Yeah, probably. Might have the pitch signaled in.
Here's the 1-0 pitch to Thomas. Robert still looking back at second. Now a 4 on the pitch clock delivers a strike. It's 1-1. A win here for the Gators would be huge for the NCAA tournament resume. Would get them to 13-17 at the end of the regular season in the SEC. 28-26 overall. Still a long way to go, but it's been a big, big inning for them. That ball is lifted in the air to Carter. Carter right there in front of the track has it, and strong throw in. Any thoughts that Shelnut had of tagging were quickly erased. And now there's 2 down in the inning.
Yeah, I think Carter actually was just conceding Shelnut going ahead and tagging and going to third. Wanted to keep Done from getting to second base there, and they're nearly threw one behind for Alford to perhaps record the out.
So Robertson becomes the 9th man to bat in the inning for the Gators. This all started with Caglione hitting a 2-run monster over the Foldy Field scoreboard. All kind of mushroomed from there. Robers looks in, looks back. 1-0 with 2 on the pitch clock. That's a base hit. Here comes Shelnut around third, gets the wave sign. He will score without a throw. Runners at the corners, and it's 5-3 Florida. Robertson comes through again. What a big series the man at the bottom of the order has had in this weekend. 4th base hit.
And another ball squared up in this inning. You feel like everything that Florida has swung at in this inning has been hit on the barrel. Hitting being contagious, proving to be true here in this inning.
So here's Ashton Wilson. He's going to be batting for the 2nd time in the inning. He started the inning with a single just ahead of Caglione's 2-run homer. Wow, whatever they figured it out big. Because they have lit into Harris and now Robers in this inning. Batted around, put 5 runs on the board. And 6 hits. Hot shot foul down the first base line. No balls and a strike. 2 down in the inning. Robers trying to stop the bleeding here. 0-1 pitch in there for a strike, and it's 0-2. So Roberge has got to within a strike now of getting out of the jam. But significant damage has been done. Oh, 2 pitch. Missed low. One ball, 2 strikes. Robertson at first and Done at third base. 5 runs in for the Gators here. And what has been a profitable top of the 4th for Florida. 1-2 pitch. Lifted towards the gap. That's going to be trouble. Done scores. Here comes Robertson. Scores as the throw squares into the infield or squibs into the infield. 2 more runs in for the Gators. It's 7-3. A 7-run top of the 4th for Florida.
And another ball squared up, just middle right there. And Wilson goes shopping in the gap. Gets a couple of more across his second hit of the inning, and Caglione comes up after the monstrous home run that he had earlier in the inning. Kind of got things going for the Gators. And
they're going to walk him. They're not going to let him swing the bat this time. Well, no doubt with a base open, going to put him on for Shelton, who tripled his last time up. Matt Stewart along with Jason Jacobs as Shelton stands in. 12th man to bat in the inning. Ball 1. What's at stake today? Well, Florida trying to get to 13 conference wins. 27 and 25 overall. 2 things they feel like will get them into the NCAA tournament. Dogs might need to win this game to remain in the top 8 national seed conversation. So a lot riding on this regular season finale. And I think that might be the case for Georgia. Nobody knows for sure. But I think it might be the case for Georgia. Not that losing to Florida in a series here against the Gators would be a terrible thing, but there's so much competition for that top 8 seed. Just one little misstep and someone else replaces you in that slot, I think. But maybe not. Who knows? 2-0 pitch. Now it's 3-0. Pitch from Roberge. There's a strike, and it's 3-1. Seven for 9 in the inning. 5 extra base hits, 2 of them home runs. 7 runs scored. What an inning for the Gators. They had scored only 11 runs in the first 2 games combined.
Saving them all for the 4th inning in game 3, I guess.
They absolutely have.
They really have just squared up everything they've swung at, it seems like, in this inning.
3 balls and 2 strikes to Shelton. Did he go? He did not. Bases are loaded. And Wes Johnson out of the dugout, going to make a pitching change.
Run it up there.
Here's Heyman with the bases loaded. Nice stop by Gonzalez on a breaking ball that hopped about 3 feet in front of the plate.
That was an incredible stop. Kind of put his glove right where it needed to be to knock that thing down.
1-0 to Heyman. Heyman knocked in a run earlier in the inning. He has 7 RBI in the series and 3 home runs. 1-0 pitch. Chopper foul down the third base line. It's 1-1. So Heyman following up what he did in the Kentucky series. He went 3 for 14 with a couple of home runs in that series. And he's 3 for 11 in this series with a couple of home runs and 7 RBI, actually 3 home runs and 7 RBI. So 5 home runs for Heyman over the last 2 SEC weekends. Sully says he's a guy that, hit or miss. Right now he's hitting.
Yeah, he's got some swing and miss in there for sure. You saw the 3 strikeouts in yesterday's ball game before that home run showed up.
2-1 pitch. Drops the breaking ball in there for a strike. 2-2. Shelton at first, Caglione at second, Wilson at third. 2-2 pitch. That ball is lifted towards the gap. Can anybody get to it? No. Gonna drop. Tates goes down. 2 runs in. Here comes Shelton. He will score. Bases clearing double for Luke Heyman, who has 10 RBI in the series. And it's 10-3 Florida.
Now another just middle, just kind of hangs up there. Heyman does a great job, continues to swing a hot bat. A little bit too good with 2 strikes, the Georgia pitching staff has been.
Heyman putting up SEC Player of the Week type numbers with a double, 3 home runs, and 10 RBI this weekend. And Curlin gets hit by the pitch. That means Shelnut will be the 15th man to bat in this inning. Dogs need that Little League rule where you bat around once and then you go back out. It's been a disastrous inning for Georgia. Kind of an epic 10-run 4th inning for the Gators. Shelnut doubled and scored earlier in this inning. Ball 2. And if indeed the Gators get into an NCAA regional, whoever wants them in their regional.
There's a lot of talent on the field, that's for sure.
13 and 17 in the SEC. Do they go in as a 2 or a 3 seed? My goodness, that's a terrible team to have in your regional as a host. That's going to be trouble towards the gap, and it's going to hit off the wall. Heyman scores. Here comes Curlin, he scores. 12 runs have scored for the Gators here in the 4th. 2-run double by Shelnut, his 2nd double of the inning. Unbelievable inning for Florida.
It's just one gap to the other gap, it seems like. Again, not a bad pitch there, low and away. Gators are just on fire right now.
Here's Brody Donay. 17th man to bat in the inning. I don't keep a record of this, but I don't ever remember an inning when 17 men came to a plate.
I do not recall ever seeing 12 runs scored in one.
Unbelievable inning to Florida, especially after they had been no hit for the first 3 innings.
Yeah, and you got a couple of hit batsmen and a walk, 2 walks, I guess.
9 hits and 12 runs in 1 inning.
That's the crazy part.
To the backstop. Shelnut goes to third. I mean, Bulldogs are going to have to fight hard today not to get run ruled on their home field. What a breakthrough game for Florida. And there's a strike. No, that's a ball. Pardon me. I thought that was a strike. It's a ball. Bases now runners at the corners for the Gators again. Nowhere to go but down, right?
Well, the way this inning's going, I'm not sure this is the right.
Dale
Next
Thomas lifts this one to right field. This should be the final out. Collins has it. And the crowd standing ovation.
You'd be hard pressed to see lightning strike twice and the Dogs be able to do what the Gators did in the last inning.
Here's Corey Collins batting for the third time today, and Collins takes a strike. Walked and scored on the ground out by Phelps in the first and then struck out in the second. Not that you are in these positions very often during your career, but you're down 9 as a batter. I'm guessing there's probably a tendency to want to press and try to, get a big home run here and get things started. But
no, I think it's the exact opposite.
Really?
You're getting in there, you're just looking to get on base. If you can just not be one of those outs that you have left, that's kind of the goal as a hitter. Find a way on, whether it's walk. Obviously probably not going to be bunting a whole lot or anything of that nature, but just grinding at bats out one at a time, chip away, get a couple of runs here or there and see what happens.
Cold strike 3. Collins goes down looking.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is try and come unglued and cut the lead to 8. But there's plenty of time left. I have seen, comebacks with this much time left in the ball game.
Yeah,
you get a couple of runs here or there, a couple of big innings, maybe a few mistakes out there.
Here's Condon. Ball 1 to Charlie Condon. There's no doubt. I mean, Georgia certainly, they have 17 outs left to work with, so you start chipping away with a couple of runs here and a couple of runs there. But like you said, the likelihood that you're going to snatch it all back with a 12-run inning yourself are pretty low. Charlie Condon sitting on 34 home runs. He's been sitting there since the South Carolina series. I don't think he's gone through a series this year. I know he didn't last year, where he hasn't homered in a series.
There was one early on.
Where he didn't homer?
Where he did not homer.
Here's the 1-2 pitch to Condon, and that's going to be a bouncer foul down the first base line.
Oh, that was a bad call. I'm pretty sure it bounced on the chalk past first base. I mean, it looks like it's still fair. Well, still in fair territory. It never went foul.
You can see Wes Johnson and the entire dugout was signaling that they thought it was a fair ball. So the count is 1-2 to Condon. Bounces away, 2-2 to Charlie Condon. Got him. Back-to-back strikeouts for Jamison to start this fourth inning.
Late action downward right there. Really looking to get low and in on Charlie Condon. Feel like that's where his weak spot is, at least the Gators do right now.
It's Trey Phelps. Bouncer on the infield. Shelton charges, short hop, throws, got him. Nice play by Shelton. And the Gators send the Bulldogs down 1-2.
It's 9 up, 9 down.
Here's Robertson batting for the third time. Lined out to Murillo in the third, had an RBI single in the fourth. Strike on the edge, it's 0-2. Radke out there, the fourth pitcher used by the Bulldogs. He was able to finally come in and get that final out in the fourth inning after the Gators had sent 17 men to the plate. Oh, 2 pitch, missed low, 1-2. Robertson, who picked up his 5th multi-hit game of the season yesterday. He hasn't been a big offensive threat for them this season, but he's had a really nice weekend here in Athens. Fouls that one out of play. He's 4 for 10 in the series with a double, and he's driven in 2 runs. He's only got 15 RBI on the entire season, 16 now with the run he drove in today. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and it hit him.
So he just yanks this fastball all the way across. It's him right there on the top of the foot.
Here's Ashton Wilson. He had a single and a 2-run double in the 4th inning. He's 2 for 3 today. That's one of those innings where the old proverbial, they're fighting at the bat rack, right?
Yeah.
It's like, give me a bat, I want a bat.
You go 9 for 12 as a team in 1 inning, hitting 750 for the inning.
Wow. 1-0 pitch to Wilson is a ball, and it's 2-0.
Looks like the strike zone shrunk up a little bit. Gonzalez getting a bit frustrated. A couple of close pitches not going their way here. Everything not going the Dogs' way. I thought Condon's ball might have still been fair.
Yeah.
I mean,
2-0 pitch, missed high, 3-0. Wilson's now 6 for 18 on the season, so he's up to 333. There's a strike. Let me fix that. That's 6 for 19, so he's 316 on the season. But out of his 6 total hits, he's got 3 doubles. Sends this one in the air down the right field line. Collins in foul territory has it. And that'll be out number 1. Here's Jack Caglione. Another chance to see this young man swing. Won't be seeing many more of these collegiate at-bats with the MLB draft 2 months away. But going back to the conversation we've been having, kind of a running conversation comparing he and Charlie Condon. Hot shot to Alford. This could be a double play, and it is. 4-6-3. Looking number 5 prospect in the MLB draft. Also has Tennessee's Billy Amick on that list, and Tommy Tanks, Tommy White of the national champion LSU Tigers. Can't go wrong with any of those picks.
No.
But the interesting aspect is the 4 that we showed you are all listed in the top 5 of the MLB draft. So Slade Alford at the plate. Wow. I tell you what, Jamison with this big lead, he's just rearing back and letting it rip. That's 3 strikeouts, the 4 batters he's faced.
Yeah, doing a great job, not falling behind, pounding the strike zone. You see the breaking ball there. It's a late and short breaking ball. Comes straight over the top, has that late action downward. Only about 7 miles an hour off from his fastball.
Paul Tate's 1 for 2. had a double back in the third, back when the Dogs had the lead. Georgia actually jumped out to a 3-0 lead in this game on a two-run single by Charlie Condon in the second. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. It's 1-2. Off the edge. You know, and the fact that it's 12-3 Florida on top in a game with a lot of magnitude riding on it, certainly not a championship riding on it, but you see this sometimes even in a championship game. It turns into a rout.
Yeah, and again, Florida playing for their postseason life, really, if you think about it. Not that their hopes would end with a loss here, but I think it would cement them getting into the postseason, the regional play that is, with a win.
2-2 pitch. Up the middle, that'll be a base hit. Fourth hit for the Dogs, and Tates has 2 of them. He continues to swing a good bat here in this series. He's got 6 hits in the series.
That's all you're looking to do, just not make one of those outs you have left. So good job there by Tates. Finding some room up the middle there to get himself on base.
Here's Dylan Carter. Ball missed low to Dylan Carter. Walked his last time up after grounding out to second. His first time up. He's 2 for 6 with those 2-run homers, 2 homers and 3 RBI that he drove in game 1 of the series. One ball, one strike. Base hit to left field. 2 aboard for Georgia here in the bottom of the 5th. Tates and now Carter back-to-back as Dylan Carter picks up his 3rd hit of the series. And Dylan Carter has 13 hits for the entire season. 7 of them are home runs. 1 double, 5 singles. Here's Sebastian Murillo. Murillo walked, scored on the base hit by Condon back in the 2nd inning. And he was called out, called 3rd strike when he wasn't ready in the batter's box. On a pitch clock violation for the batter. Oh-2 pitch. Struck him out on 3 pitches. 2 down in the inning.
Back to that breaking ball. You see that bottom drop out there late. Murillo kind of froze up on the 2 fastballs he got, maybe looking for that. And finally got it. He wasn't looking for it.
Georgia is 4 for 30 with runners in scoring position in this series. Pretty extraordinary number for this Georgia team, this high-powered offense of the Georgia Bulldogs that came into the series averaging 9.5 runs per game. And they scored 9 on Thursday night, but then just 4 yesterday, which is a really low number. That's more than half of their per game number.
Yeah, Peterson and Neely were just outstanding on the mound for Florida.
And today they've been limited to 3 runs. Bulldogs came into the day tied for 5th in the overall SEC standings with Mississippi State. They would lose out on the tiebreaker from a seeding standpoint with those Bulldogs. So right now, Georgia would be the number 6 seed in the SEC tournament. They could be playing the Florida Gators again in the first game Tuesday morning in Hoover, Alabama. Because when the day started, there was 4 teams bunched up and tied for the 8, 9, 10, and 11 spots. And just really no way to discern which one would have been which at this point. Shelton, they throw to third to get Tates there, and the inning comes to a close as the Dogs strand 2 more in the inning. The first 2 games of the series against the last place team in the SEC, who has long ago been eliminated from the SEC tournament picture. The other aspect of that graphic that we showed you is that Tennessee will be the number 1 seed in the SEC tournament as they move into a share for the championship with Kentucky. So they share the championship, but in my book, Tennessee beat Kentucky.
Yeah.
In my book, I look at Tennessee as the champions, actually. Although I know Kentucky made a big deal about it last night and celebrated, as rightfully they should. But when you end up tied with the team for the championship and they beat you in the regular season, in my book, the team that wins the regular season championship is the championship.
I agree.
mean, who wins the regular season series is the champion.
I agree.
That's just me, but I probably a lot of people would agree with that. But they'll go in the books as co-champions, and Tennessee will get the number 1 seed in the SEC tournament.
Yeah, as I recall, that's the way that it used to be. I know in 04 when we got the championship, we didn't play Arkansas that year, and that's why we were co-champs. There was no season series to go off of.
And y'all were the number 2 seed in the tournament? Was that the way it worked?
Now that I don't remember, but I believe so. I think
we'd have to look that up. I mean, yeah.
We ended up being the 2. That was back when they only did 8 teams. So.
Right. Shelton at the plate. The count is 3-2, and he draws the walk to start the inning. Let me ask you this, because I was watching the game last night between Texas A&M and Arkansas, which Arkansas won to clinch the Western Division title for the 5th time in 6 years. And the topic of non-divisional play came up, which will be instituted next year when there's 16 teams in the league with the additions of Texas and Oklahoma, and there will no longer be East-West divisions. This is done to try to create a schedule by which, you know, if a kid's at a school for 4 years, they get to play at against every team.
Right.
And Tom Hart and Kyle Peterson were working that game, and they said that Dave Van Horn was against it. I'm against it too. I like divisional.
You like the divisions?
I do. Number 1, I mean, just how much. I mean, when you look at that, just 16 teams on a grid, that's going to be so hard to read. Carter, not to mention what our font coordinators have to do here on television to try to fit 16 teams on one page. They have to change things around. But I just like the idea of divisional play. I mean, if you want to fix it so that the schedule, I don't know how you do that, but figure it out if that's the goal. One down here in the 6th, and Tom Hart made a good point. I mean, with the rosters in transition all the time, I mean, how many players stay at one school for 4 years anymore? I mean, if the goal is for a 4-year player to get a chance to play against every team in the conference, how many players are you actually accommodating with that rule? Ground ball hit to Alford, steps on second, throws to first, double play. 4-3 double play, second consecutive inning that the Bulldogs have been able to for Georgia here in the bottom of the 6th. During the break, Jason Jacobs was proposing a 15 weekend.
Why not?
Let me tell you, the fans would not be against that. Coaches would hate it. Base hit, branch into left field.
I think it's different with baseball, right? I mean,
No cupcakes. It's all just conference.
Yeah,
right?
just go for it.
Would you play any non-conference games in the middle of the week?
Yeah, I think so.
You still
I think
play
maybe,
those?
have those rivalries. Florida's going to want to play Florida State. Georgia's going to want to play Georgia Tech.
But just 15 weekends of conference baseball.
Grind it.
Yeah,
Just grind it out.
Jump right into it, man. Not going to wade into this ocean. We're just diving right in. Here's Corey Collins. The fans, it would be an exciting brand of baseball, no doubt about it. Pressure cooker from the start. So 45-game conference schedule.
Why not?
With 9, so that makes 11
It's so exciting.
games.
We just look at it coming down to the wire and the log jam and all the implications.
Yeah.
Just the last weekend of the season, and there's still so much that's undecided.
Quite frankly, the SEC tournament just becomes the national. It
Yeah.
de facto has been, hasn't it?
Yeah,
With
for the
a
last
few
several,
exceptions
yeah.
over the last, going back to Georgia, in the late 2010s, I guess is what you call it, or just the 2000s, 2008, going back. The SEC has dominated for the last decade plus, with the occasional exception of Oregon State,
Right.
Virginia here and there, and Arizona won it once. UCLA won it. 3-1 is hit in the air and out of play. Just take over the world, right? The SEC, they already have. We just pretend that they haven't, just to include all the other teams.
Try to be nice.
Yeah, well,
You want to be accommodating.
yeah. It just seems that way sometimes. That's not reality, but it seems that way sometimes. 3-2, rocket shot into the corner, foul ball. Three balls and 2 strikes. Up the middle, caught, double play opportunity. They got it. Yep. Line drive right at the shortstop. Shelton, who had the shift on the right side of the second base bag, took away a base hit from Collins, and they doubled off Branch.
Yeah, line shot, and Branch just a couple of false steps in the wrong direction. That was enough. That ball hard hit. Don't blame him for getting excited and advancing, but down by this much, you got to be station to station, taking your time, making sure you don't make it out on the bases.
Charlie Condon goes after the first pitch and fouls it out of play. Going back to our conversation about the Condon and Caglione comparison, I think Caglione's maybe a little bit better of a pure hitter than Condon. Although Condon, he leads the nation in batting average and base hits.
He's got that extra year of experience,
Yeah.
I think, game experience, that is. Condon redshirting his freshman year.
Can't go wrong with either one of them, I don't think.
No.
Count now 2-1 to Condon. But I think that one aspect is you look statistically at the two, it's the strikeouts, and Condon doesn't strike out a lot.
Right.
Caglione, compared to being the power hitter that he is, basically doesn't strike out at all.
Yeah.
He struck out 20 times the whole year.
Anytime you're homering more than you're striking out.
Yeah. And Charlie's close to that. He has 34 home runs and 38 strikeouts.
Right.
39 now with the strikeout he had today. 2-2, bouncer to Shelton deep in the hole. And great throw by Shelton. He's putting on a show here at shortstop today. Thomas here in the 7th. So Radke finishes up with a pretty good line after the horse was out of the barn. He went 2 1/3, gave up no runs on no hits with a walk through 22 pitches. That's another name that you kind of figure into the mix as you look ahead to the 2025 season for the Georgia Bulldogs. Matthew Hoskins will be back, and hopefully by then he's fully healthy, coming off that Tommy John, which he had in April of 2023. So he's pitched 2 innings this season since coming back from that, but he's a big, strong arm.
Yeah, I mean, there's good and bad in everything, right? You get an opportunity here to get a Hoskins out there in this game that's really out of hand, down by 9, so you get him some work, and going into the postseason, maybe he factors in, has a good outing here, and can contribute in some way down the line.
Shellnut, that'll be a base hit to left. Third hit of the day for Shellnut. He had 2 doubles in the 4th inning alone.
Yeah, and the Dogs just not very good at putting these Gator hitters away with 2 strikes. That slider just kind of hung up there again.
So Dogs' next game will be on Tuesday in the SEC tournament. And right now, it looks like they're tracking towards being the number 6 seed. I know they can't finish any lower than that. They lost the season series with Mississippi State, so they were already tied with Mississippi State. So even if Mississippi State loses to Missouri today, they're going to end up in the 6 seed spot. Georgia is, and Mississippi State will be the 5 seed. The big difference in that is, as the 6 seed, you got to play at 9:30 in the morning. As the 5 seed, you play the last game of the day. I'm not a big morning baseball guy.
No. 9:30 is
Do you know
entirely
anybody
too early.
is?
No.
2-0 pitch, swing and a miss, 2-1. Of course, all these guys have played a lot of morning baseball, travel ball, and travel tournaments. I mean, there's games that start at 8 a.m. So, I mean, they're used to it.
You don't like playing when there's still dew on the field, you know?
No. But no, I'm not. I don't like to play baseball before I've had breakfast. Swing and a miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes. That looks like where the Bulldogs are headed right now. As the 6 seed, they're going to be playing the 11 seed, which it's going to be any one of 4 teams that finished at 13 and 17. So that could be Florida, it could be LSU, it could be South Carolina, it could be Vandy. So one of those 4 teams will be Georgia's opponent in the SEC tournament on Tuesday morning. Two pitch from Hoskins, missed 3-2. So if it's Vandy, they're facing the team they swept here and run rule twice. If it's South Carolina, they're facing the team they swept there. If it's Florida, obviously, they're facing the team that just beat them 2 out of 3 here. And if they face LSU, it's Wes Johnson going up against his former team that he helped lead to the national championship last year. Ball 4. So plenty of early morning storylines at the SEC tournament on Tuesday morning.
And I'll be enjoying hearing that with a nice cup of coffee. It's probably at work at that point. But.
Yeah. I'll be calling the Sun Belt tournament next week on ESPN+. We'll have 2 games starting at 4 o'clock Eastern on Tuesday, and then we jump into the 4-game portion of the schedule. Here's Del Thomas. But no doubt the SEC is going to have a lot of intriguing storylines because of the 4 teams that I just rattled off that are going to be going in with 13 and 17 records. In our conversations throughout the course of the day, Jason, I gather that you're kind of thinking like me that 2 of those 13 will get in. 2 of those teams with 13 wins, and 2 of them won't.
That's kind of the way it's shaping up, and got to think Florida finishing strong. If they're able to with those other numbers, strength of schedule and RPI, they'd probably be one of those teams to one of those 4 that gets in.
Yeah, I mean, I think so too with the great RPI and the strength of schedule. I think so. There's a look at the numbers, 25-1. Did they leave out the defending national champions? Did they leave out a Vanderbilt team that's won 2 national championships in the last decade? South Carolina won 2 national championships the last 15 years. Gonzalez picks up the bunt. As they push this game, they're pushing for the run rule right here. They get 2 in scoring position and 1 down with that sacrifice bunt by Thomas.
Yeah, and a good job here by Gonzalez. We mentioned Logan Jordan not taking a good route. You can see Gonzalez here, calls it right away, gets way around it, gets his feet set. Yeah, Florida trying to push a couple more across, at least one.
Base hit here by Robertson as the infield comes in. Base hit would give them an 11-run lead here in the 7th, and the Dogs would get one more chance to try to overcome that. Ball 1 to Robertson. Here's the 1-0 pitch. In there for a strike, and it's 1-1. One ball, 1 strike. Hoskins takes a deep breath, blows out, right back to him. Off his glove, going to trickle into center field for a base hit. 2-run score for the Gators, and they've got a 14-3 lead. Another hit for Michael Robertson. Have yourself a series, young man. 5 hits for him.
Yeah, what a job by Robertson again. Ball up in the zone. I think Hoskins had a pretty good shot there to knock that thing down. Somehow it avoids his body, tips his glove, trickles into center field. 2 more runs in. Dogs now in danger of being 10-run ruled.
Yeah, Shelnut and Donay both score, so a 11-run lead for the Gators. Which means the Dogs would have to score twice, at least, if the score stays right here. Have to score twice in the bottom of the 7th just to keep the game going. I mean, really a unexpected way for the home schedule to end for Georgia. Georgia 29-3 at Foley Field going into yesterday's game. They're going to end up dropping their last 2 and the last one by run rule and finish 29-5 at Foley Field. It won't be the last game here at Foley Field. Georgia's going to end up hosting a regional.
Yeah, I would think. I think they've done enough to earn that.
Yeah, I think they'll host. They'll be one of the 16. I don't think they're going to be one of the top 8 at this point. Unless something happens, and we'll wait and see what happens with Georgia at the SEC tournament. But I never have been able to get a feel for what the selection committee, how much weight they put on tournament action. Seems like sometimes they put a lot on it.
Right.
And then sometimes they don't put anything on it. Did he go? He did. 2 down in the inning, and here comes Jack Caglione. No SEC player has ever had multiple 30 home run seasons. Well, he's at 29 right now, a chance to make some history. Belted 33 a year ago, and he's already hit a 2-run bomb here today. He was thinking about it.
Oof. Dangerous pitch there from Hoskins.
No balls and a strike to Caglione. Fouled off right there at the plate, and he's behind 0-2. Could be the last at-bat for Jack Caglione here at Foley Field. Behind in the count, 0-2. Hoskins looks in, waiting to get the sign. Looks like he's got it. Got him. Swing and a miss. Gonzalez will tag him out, and that will end the inning. We head to the bottom of the 7th. Dogs got to score a couple of runs to keep the game going. They're down to the next chapter of your professional career, and thanks a lot for all your hard work and to all the great students that fill out our crew and do such a fabulous, wonderful job each and every game. You know, school's out, and those guys are still here. You know, they haven't gone home.
Yeah.
They're still here working hard, making sure we get on the air and do all those great things. So best wishes to Ross and also all the other crew members who work so hard on all of the productions, baseball, softball, volleyball, all that kind of stuff. So Dylan Goldstein pinch hitting for the Dogs here in the bottom of the 7th. Dogs need to score a couple of runs. Do they want to score a couple of runs? I guess that's the question. You get to this
It's
point.
just one of those, yeah.
Yeah. Are you ready just to move on?
If you're going to score a couple, you want to score a big couple. Maybe
Yeah.
make it more of a ball game, like an 8 spot.
Exactly. 3 balls and a strike to Dylan Goldstein, one of the young men who played his 1 year here at the University of Georgia, went through senior ceremonies earlier today. 3-1 strike, and it's 3-2.
Jamison's he's been stellar. Seen
Well,
2 good performances from this Florida bullpen in Neely and Jamison here.
Well, I mean, like we said, when he came in the game, and at that point he had been staked to a 9-run lead.
Right, yeah.
I mean, that takes the pressure off. Time called. What do we got going on?
Pitch clock again. Like I say, he wasn't in there. Batter has to be in there with 10 seconds left. It's like,
Well, the
Klein maybe missed it or wasn't close enough. It's going to play ball.
3-2 pitch, fouled back. I mean, I looked up and there was nothing in there was nothing on the pitch clock. There was no numbers on the like right now. Now they get 20 up there. Here's the 3-2 pitch outside, and Goldstein's aboard. So here's Slade Alford. Yeah, I wonder what the Gators' plans will be here. I guess they'll go back to Gainesville, you know, unpack, do some laundry, then hit the road back up to Hoover, right? Because the Gators are going to be they're going to be the 8, the 9, the 10, or the 11 seed, depending upon how all this shakes out with the 4 teams. Could be 5 teams, but before the end of the day, that are tied at 13 and 17. Or is it 4? I'm losing track now. We've talked about it so much, I'm confusing myself. So we know that South Carolina, Vandy, LSU, and then Florida, and maybe in Alabama could also be 13 and 17 in the conference by the end of the day if they win at Auburn. 1-1. So that's the 11, the 10. So 7. They could be as high as the 7, right? 7.
National seed conversation we were having. You'd think that there's 4 from the SEC that are going to be there.
Yeah, you would think. Yeah, Arkansas, A&M, Tennessee, and Kentucky.
And I think it'd be tough to justify putting in a 5th one.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, especially since Georgia's going to be behind Mississippi State in the overall standings. I mean, if there is a 5th one, it's not Georgia, it's Mississippi State, right?
Well, unless they, went on a tear in the tournament,
Yeah.
Maybe that, with the tied record. I know Mississippi State won the head-to-head competition, but it was a road game early on in the season. The team's mature. It's there's a lot to it.
I tend to think like you've been thinking right here that there won't be a 5th one.
Yeah.
That ball is lifted into center field, going to drop for a base hit. So Alford keeps it going for the Dogs as they've got 2 aboard here in the 7th and nobody out. And Clayton Chadwick is going to pinch hit for Tates. So Dogs trying to keep this game going. Dogs have played 15 run rule games and have not been on the bad end of it very often. 12-3 in run rule games. In fact, the only run rule game here at Foley Field that they lost was Michigan State.
Isn't that wild?
The only non-conference game they lost the entire year. 0-1 pitch. And that was a game, quite frankly, not to make excuses, but the fact is that was a game that Georgia ran a bunch of different pitchers out there. Given, it
was interesting talking to Wes after that game. He said we kind of knew that was going to, we had kind of scripted where we were going to throw guys early on in the season and knew that was going to be one of those games that quite possibly could get out of hand, but we wanted to see what guys could do out there.
It was the final game in February,
That's
and
right.
It was kind of like, okay, we haven't seen these guys yet.
Right.
We need to take a look at them before we get into March, kind of thing. That's not been the case here today. That was the case against Michigan State. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Chadwick, check swing, fouled it off. Here's the 2-2 pitch, and that is a base hit. Going to get on the carpet and roll. Goldstein scores. Alford will be held at third. Stand-up double for Chadwick. And it's now 14-4.
The Dogs doing a little shopping in the gap here. Good piece of hitting there by Chadwick, getting an at-bat late in the game here on senior day. That's going to chase Jamison. That slider just wasn't quite sliding like it was early on. Kind of ran out of gas. 71 pitches for him. A great job. Jamison coming in. Yeah, and you get the feeling maybe the Dogs got a little something going here. Still down by 10, running out of time, but nobody out here in the bottom of the 7th. And
Carter just missed extra bases down the first base line.
Right, and as explosive as the Gators offense has been in this ball game, the Dogs can match them.
Yeah. Well, like you said, if you're going to avoid the run rule, make sure it's in a big way and get back in the game. There's a strike on the inside corner, and it's 0-2 to Dylan Carter. No balls and 2 strikes. Slater delivers, missed inside this time. 1-2. Alford down at third base, and Chadwick behind him at second. Chadwick drove in the Dogs' 4th run with an RBI double, and Carter fouls that one back. The 1-2 pitch from Slater. Got him, struck him out. 1 down here in the inning.
Well, backdoor slider here from Slater. Just a little bit underneath that one.
Here's Sebastian Murillo. 0 for 2 today. Strike 1 to Murillo. Slater's come in and filled up the strike zone since coming in out of the bullpen. Jamison went 3 2/3 to this point, gave up a run on 5 hits with a walk and 5 strikeouts. Bouncer to the right side, and that's going to pull Heyman off the bag. Run scores for the Dogs, and it's 14-5. That'll be an error on the Gators. That'll be on Curlin on the throw. And Murillo's going to be safe. Runners at the corners for Georgia.
They kind of took that one for granted a little bit, did Curlin. A solid second baseman. Actually, not a terrible throw, but Heyman just kind of got his feet hung up a hair. That's another thing we were talking about, just how good Caglione is defensively. You take that for granted, having a good defensive first baseman. Heyman, normally a catcher, filling in at first today.
That's going to be a pitch clock violation. And ball one. We've seen more pitch clock violations here today than we've seen the entire season combined.
Yeah, it's been kind of wild.
I don't think that was 20 seconds. Did you?
Yeah, they started the clock kind of early.
Gonzalez fouls that back. So the Dogs with the run here in the bottom of the seventh, 2 runs here in the bottom of the seventh, have, at least for the moment, avoided the run rule. Here's the 2-1 pitch from Slater as Gonzalez sends this in the air over on the right side, shallow. Wilson near the line. There will be no tag. Nice throw to the plate, 2 down in the inning. And brings up Colby Branch.
And if Branch can reach, you feel like that would be the type of inning you'd want as for the Dogs to maybe get back in this game, given the opportunity to Collins to maybe with one big swing of the bat get this thing a lot closer.
Goes to the right side. Wilson's going to have trouble getting to it. Will not. Run scores as Chadwick touches the plate. Murillo goes to third. Dogs have put up 3 here in the 7th, and it's 14-6. That'll be the first hit of the series for Branch.
He got just enough there off the end of the bat. Now you're getting into that territory. Maybe that one big swing, a bloop and a blast, maybe even with Condon on deck. Make this more competitive.
Ball 1 to Collins. One 0 pitch to Collins, swing and miss. 1-1. In there for a strike, 1-2 to Collins. Collins can reach, they'll bring Charlie Condon to the plate. 1-2 pitch, missed low. Charlie with a 23-game hitting streak. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Collins, a little number back to the pitcher Slater. Tosses underhand and the inning comes to a close, but the Dogs avoid the run rule with 3 runs here in the bottom of the 7th. And 2 seed, Kentucky will be the 3 seed, A&M will be the 4 seed. It's at the bottom of the conference standings where we're still trying to figure out the seeding. Shelton starts the inning off with a walk. Hit by pitch, pardon me. Here's Luke Heyman. Heyman, hot shot into left field for a base hit. 12 hits for the Gators today. So Florida trying to push that game back out to a run rule. They got to pick up a couple of runs here in the top of the 8th to do that. It's Cade Curlin. Hit his 2nd home run of the series back in that 12-run 4th inning. You know, that's another facet of the game that's come into play since, of course, you were playing. You know, you didn't have the run rule.
No.
But, I mean, it's really become a strategy now.
And not a bad one. I mean, I like it in the fact that you kind of save some arms in there. Some of those games just drug on forever
Oh, yeah.
because you get down to the bottom of the barrel and it was just pouring gasoline on the fire. The different arms you'd run out there that hadn't thrown in a while. So
2 balls and no strikes. Hoskins gave up a couple of runs and 3 hits in his first inning of work. Here's the 2-0 pitch. That's in there for a strike. 92. Pretty good pop. Two 2-1 pitch. Missed. It's 3-1. Gators 8-13 on the road this season, 5-9 on the road in the SEC. They could get to 6-9 here in the regular season finale if they can hold on and get the win here today. 3-1 pitch from Hoskins. Missed low. Bases are loaded. So just like that, the Gators are back in the 4th inning. Hit him in the back and run in. 15-6.
now you might see the infield come in to defend against that 10-run rule. 10th run at third base, and that one right at him the whole way.
Well, they're playing back looking for a double play here. They would give up the run to get the double play. Here's Donay. Missed inside. I guess they're feeling that they could give up the run here because they feel like they can get it back.
I guess so.
The 1-0 from Panzer outside, and it's 2-0.
Looks like DeVito's getting loose in the bullpen as well, trying to get maybe all those seniors in.
Yep. 2-0 pitch. Now it's 3-0. Panzer had 7 career saves with the Stanford Cardinal. Was a teammate of Corey Collins at North Gwinnett. 3-0 pitch. In there for a strike. First strike thrown by Panzer. Shelnut at first, Curlin at second, Heyman at third. There's a strike. It's 3-2. Nobody out in the inning. 3-2 from Panzer. Chopper on the infield. Murillo charges, looks home, throws to first instead. Run scores, and it's 16-6 as they get the first out of the inning. And now they have runners at second and third. So give Donay an RBI on the fielder's choice ground out.
A good job there by Murillo. Thought he might have a chance at home, but wanted to guarantee an out in that situation.
Del Thomas. Infield now playing in. It's been a big series, big day for everybody but Thomas. He's 0 for 3 and he's 0 for 11 in the series. Here's the 1-0 from Panzer in there for a strike, and it's 1-1. One pitch from Panzer. Right back to him. Got the man hung up between home and third. Puts the tag on him there. Gets the second out. Good job by Panzer. Curlin didn't have to be moving on that play, but was instead and got caught in the rundown. Shelnut reaches third, but now 2 down in the inning. Thomas reaches on the fielder's choice, and here's Robertson. Two hits today for Robertson, including a 2-run single in the 7th. So he's 5 for 11 in the series with 3 RBI and a double. Hits this one to Chadwick in left, and the inning's over. Dogs got to score a run in the bottom of the 8th to keep it going. Gators added 2 in the top of the 8th, and now here's Charlie Condon to start the inning. Hits this one to center field, going back to the wall and off the batter's eye. Home run number 35 for Charlie Condon, his first of the series, his first since the South Carolina series. And he knocks the game out of run rule territory. It's 16-7.
Yeah, you felt like it was a matter of time. I guess you always feel like it's a matter of time with Charlie.
No doubt.
Goes dead center right there. First pitch he sees. Good extension again.
60th home run of his career, as he pulls to within 5 home runs of the all-time SEC single season record held by Brandon Larson of LSU, 40 home runs in 1997. 400 feet, 107 on the exit velocity. Goldstein batting. So the Dogs are not going to be run ruled here in their home finale. It's the most in the BB Core era. Charlie Condon passed Jack Caglione for that during the South Carolina series when he hit number 34. They changed the bats. The Larson back in that day, 1997, using different bats. Goldstein hits to Heyman. Heyman, nice diving play. And Slater over there covering the bag for the first out.
A good play there by Heyman and a good feed. Slater getting over. Not an easy underhand feed from that far away, but he does a good job.
That's a nice play by Heyman right here.
Well struck. Trying to find some room over there through the shift, but Heyman steals a hit away from Goldstein.
Slade Alford. He's 1 for 4 in this game with a single in the 7th. Scored on the double, or actually scored on the ground up by Murillo. That's a deep fly ball that's going to get out of here. Solo home run for Alford. 16-8. First home for Alford since his 2-run jack against South Carolina last week. 16th of the season.
Yeah, ball up in the zone. Looked like a little hanging out there for him. Gets just enough of it, the short porch to right field.
'62nd RBI for Alford as Chadwick stands in. Alford is 4th in the SEC. Actually, that's his, did I say 62nd? That's his 63rd. Yeah, 63rd RBI. He's 4th. Nice addition to the Bulldogs lineup this year. Chadwick with the RBI double in his first plate appearance back in the 7th. This is struck well towards the gap in left center, and it's going to be high off the wall. Another double for Chadwick as he slides in. So the Dogs refusing to go quietly here in their home finale after falling behind big.
Chadwick coming in off the bench, couple of doubles in his last 2 at-bats in the last 2 innings. Both by way of the backside gap out there, just narrowly missed a home run.
Yep.
The Dogs are fighting to stay alive, crawling back in this thing.
Here's Dylan Carter. Still a ways away from making this truly interesting, but they've cut it to 16-8. And they've got Chadwick out there as the 9th run with 1 down in the inning. Solid base hit to right. Here comes Chadwick. They're going to send him home. Here comes the throw to the plate. Comes on through. He's safe. 16-9.
Dylan Carter continuing to swing a good bat here since getting back on. That's going to get a visit from Sully. He's starting to feel it too a little bit.
Yeah.
Got to keep looking in that dugout, seeing how far away is that tying run. Now away.
In addition to the 3 runs, gave up a couple of hits, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. So the Dogs putting a little pressure on the Gators here after they'd scored 12 in the 4th inning to blow it open and lead the Dogs by a score of 12-3. It's now 16-9 Gators as the Dogs bat here in the bottom of the 8th. Matt Stewart along with Jason Jacobs. And Sebastian Murillo goes after the first pitch and fouls it out of play. If nothing else, I think this says a lot about this Georgia team, that it would have been easy for them to go quietly, get run ruled, and start getting ready for the SEC tournament, but instead the Georgia hitters have just kept swinging the bats, which, I've said a number of times this season and talking to other people about the Georgia season, their offense can make up for a multitude of sins. Bad pitching, bad fielding. I think they committed 5 errors in one of their games against Carolina as Murillo strokes a single to left field, and they keep the thing going. 1st and 2nd for the Dogs. I think they had 5 errors against the Gamecocks in a game and beat them handily because they just keep swinging the bats.
Well, their approach to the plate pretty much all season long, just never giving away an at-bat. I know that sounds simple, but it's very easy to do. That's one of the compliments you hear about Charlie Condon. Just never gives anything away out there.
And here's Fernando Gonzalez. With each swing of the bat, the Dogs making things a little bit more interesting here at Foley Field in the regular season finale. One ball, no strikes to Gonzalez. He's 0 for 3 today. And it's 1-1. Has been on base, though. Reached on a fielder's choice twice and hit by pitch. Well, once he reached on a fielder's choice. The other was he grounded into a fielder's choice. The end of the inning ball pops out of the glove of Donay. Everybody moves up into scoring position. 2nd and 3rd now for Georgia. Two balls and a strike to Gonzalez, and that's a strike, and it's 2-2. And here the crowd starting to come to life, sensing that the Dogs might be putting together an epic comeback. Still a long way to go, down 7 runs. Here, 2-1 pitch from Clemente, stroked into center field for a base hit. It's going to go to the wall. Carter scores. Murillo scores. Gonzalez has a 2-run double. It's 16-11.
Gonzo doing what Gonzo does, staying inside that ball. A good fastball there from Clemente, bearing in on his hands, but able to go backside. That ball jumped into the gap. With extra bases, you're going to start seeing some action getting on in the bullpen here. Stoney goes out to stall for some time. We start looking down that tying run getting closer.
Yeah, no doubt.
Got Branch here, no opportunity at a traditional double play, so you're going to see at least Collins in this inning with a shot to get this even closer. Branch were able to reach.
Well, the Dogs haven't scored 12 runs in an inning, but they've scored 8 over the last 2 innings. 5 in this one after 3 in the 7th. There's Colby Branch with Gonzalez out at second. Pitch missed high, 1-0. Colby Branch, after being 0 for the series, has picked up a couple of hits here today in his last couple of plate appearances. Single in the 6th, RBI single in the 7th. 1-0 pitch. Missed inside. It's 2-0 to Branch. Feel things tightening up for the Gators after it looked like they were kind of in cruise control with that big lead. 2-0 pitch. And Jason, you said it when they jumped out with that 12-run 4th inning that the saving grace for the Dogs was there's still 18 outs to go.
There was a lot of time left. You got to give a lot of credit to Jamison. He pitched very well with the lead, but.
And that's going to be gloved by Shelton deep in the hole. What a play by Shelton to throw out Branch. That is the second deep hole throw out by Shelton in this game, 2 down in the inning.
Well, he's got a good arm, too, to carry that throw. I mean, it ended up being a short hop into Heyman's glove, but hot shot, takes a deep angle, kind of throws off his back foot and carries the distance. Gets Branch by a full step.
2 down in the inning, and here comes O'Sullivan. He might be making a pitching change right here to bring in a left-hander to face 3-3, 7.71 ERA facing Collins, who's the 9th man to bat in the inning. Still a long way away from the 17 men that the Gators sent to the plate in the 4th. But the Dogs have at least made it interesting here in the bottom of the 8th. Collins behind 0-2. Fisher 0-2 pitch outside. Is that the sweeper?
That's the sweeper.
It's 1-2. Gonzalez out there at second. You see him in your screen. Had the 2-run double. 1-2 pitch to Collins. Almost pulled the trigger, but didn't. It's 2-2. Been the #1 on-base percentage player in the country pretty much the entire season over the last couple of months. 2-2 pitch. Nice play by Curlin. Gonna throw him out. Got it on a short hop on a hot shot to him. But the Dogs score 5 in the inning. We'll head to the 9th. Things have gotten pretty crazy here over the last couple of innings, as we've had 12 total runs scored between the two teams in the 7th and the 8th. Wilson is 2 for 5 today. So what a weekend for Ashton Wilson. He is 4 for 13 in the series. He had only 11 at-bats for the season coming into the series, and he's got 13 in the series. You think he'll remember this weekend?
I think so. I think so. Wasn't planning on playing a whole lot until Thursday night practice. Wednesday, excuse me.
Yeah, he stepped up and got the job done. Count 2-2 to Wilson. Charleston Southern transfer pressed into active duty here this weekend because of injuries to the Gators outfield, and that pitch is low and away, 3-2. 3-2 pitch, walked him. On base again. Been on base 3 times today. They go along with his 2-run double. So what we thought was Jack Caglianone's last plate appearance at Foley Field back in the 7th, turns out it wasn't.
Here we are.
He bats in the top of the 9th. Wow, he sends that a mile in the air. Does anybody know where it is? Murillo does, thankfully. Alford out here at second base. I mean, he was looking up into the sky with his palms up and he was out there at second base. He had no idea where it was, and it ended up being, what, 15 feet in front of the plate.
He thought Condon had it, then Gonzo, and then all of a sudden Murillo came in to squeeze it. It was up there for long enough, that's for sure.
Wow. I mean, that thing was so high and it got up in that sky. Unless you saw it and tracked it immediately off the bat, you were lost. Here's Shelton. That's always a bad feeling when the ball's in the air and you have no idea where it is. Shelton has been on base the last 4 times he's been at the plate. And man, has he had a great game in the field too. He's just made some big time plays. What do we got going on? His pants are hurt. So hopefully he's going to be okay with postseason play coming up. And DeVito, 2-0 pitch, missed low, and it's 3-0. Triple and a couple of walks and a hit batter. Hit by pitch. Been on base 4 consecutive times and scored 4 runs in the game today. 3-0 pitch and a 4-pitch walk, and Shelton is aboard. Here's Luke Heyman. He's driven in 4 more runs today. Just had a heck of a series here for the Gators. With 10 RBI. Hit 3 homers in the first 2 games of the series. Been on base 3 times today. Had a bases clearing double in the 4th. 0-1 pitch, bounced in there. Gonzalez blocks it. Gators have had 14 come from behind wins this season. I guess they'll count this one as a come from behind.
Yeah,
they were down 3-0.
Would be one.
So that would be 15 out of 28. And 11 of their 13 SEC wins if they indeed hold on and get the win here today. That ball is hit in the air, right side. Alford, shallow on the grass, has it for out number 2. Here's Cade Curlin. 1 for 3. Solo homer in the 4th. Three for 12 for the weekend. 2 homers, 3 RBI. DeVito delivers to the plate. Ball 1. Crowd has thinned out a little bit as we're pushing past 3.5 hours in this one. 1-0. Now 2-0. Bulldogs had won 6 in a row against the Gators here at Foley Field, having swept the last 2 series against Florida here, but in danger of dropping the series 2-1. Swing and a miss, and it's 2-1. DeVito missed. 3-1. LSU has beaten Ole Miss 9-3. Rebels will have to win the SEC tournament as the 12 seed in order to get into an NCAA regional, it would appear, as they finish 11-19 in the conference. National champions 2 years ago. 3-1 pitch. In the air to right field, going back to the wall, and it is out of here. Cade Curlin with his 3rd home run of the series. 3 more RBI for him. It's 19-11.
Oh, and another big one late. Had the big 2-run shot
Yep.
late in yesterday's ball game.
8th inning.
And a big one there. That hurts. Dogs had cut it to 5 runs. Felt like maybe there was a shot, however long it might be. He just made it that much longer.
Curlin now with 13 home runs on the season. And those were RBI 37, 38, and 39. Yeah, that was that the final nail right there. I mean,
who knows in this ball game?
Yeah. So now, in the last 2.5 innings, counting the one we're still in here, top of the 9th. That's 15 runs that have been scored. Wow. And we had a 12-run 4th. Other than that, it's been really quiet. Called strike 3. Inning finally comes to a close. Do the Dogs have an 8-run 9th in them? 19-11 Gators.
Put 3 runs up to avoid that.
Charlie Condon batting again. You saw the home run that he hit off the batter's eye in the 8th inning. Chasing history still. 0-1 pitch. The other piece of history that he's chasing is the batting average. He's still at .454. That would, well, it's not a record, not in the SEC. Dave Magadan hit .525 40 years ago. But it would be 3rd all time in Georgia history. And it also sets him up to become one of only 3 players ever in the nation to lead the country in batting average and home runs in the same year. 3-1 pitch to Condon. There's a strike, 3-2. A fellow named Mike Smith in 1992 did it for Indiana, and then Bryce Brentz did it for Middle Tennessee in 2009. 3-2 pitch to Condon. Up the chute over on the right side. Let's see who's going to take it. Wilson, the right fielder, will. Out number 1. Here's Dylan Goldstein batting for the 3rd time since entering the game in the 7th. He walked in the 7th and then grounded out to first base in the 8th. What are the odds that you enter the game in the 7th and get 3 plate appearances in a 9-inning game? A plate appearance per inning. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, and it's 1-2. Outside 2-2. Someone might have burned the popcorn. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Missed, and it's 3-2. You smell it?
I don't.
No?
I'm all stuffed up from the
From the pollen?
The pollen, yeah. Sun came out, and so did
the pollen.
the pollen.
3-2, slapped out of play. Gators 2 outs away from improving to 28 and 26 in the season, 13 and 17 to close out the SEC regular season. Dogs would drop to 39 and 14 and 7 and 13. All said, it's going to end up being a disappointing finish to the season, the regular season for Georgia. But if you'd said a month ago the Dogs would be 7 and 13 at the end of the regular season, you'd be like, what are you talking about? Because they were 10 and 11 going into the final 3 weekends of the conference schedule. But then swept Vandy, swept South Carolina. Looks like Florida's going to end up winning this series. It'll be the first one that they dropped at home all year. The other weird thing is that the Bulldogs are going to finish 17 and 13 in the regular season, and they're going to go 5-5 in the series.
Yeah.
5 series wins and 5 series losses.
Yeah, they got swept there in the first one.
They had some sweeps, and they swept some people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were able to get a road sweep. I think that's huge.
3-2 pitch, base hit by Goldstein. Dogs aren't done yet. And Josh Stinson's going to pinch hit for Slade Alford here. So Josh Stinson's going to get a chance to bat here in his final game ever at Foley Field. Young man was named to the SEC Community Service Team earlier this week. Been a fine pillar in the program, 23-year-old fifth-year graduate. His alma mater, the Grayson Rams, playing for a state championship in 7A. High school baseball in the state of Georgia. There's a strike to Josh Stinson. Josh making just his 19th game appearance. He's 2 for 18 on the year. Pitch missed inside. I believe 1-2 pitch to Stinson. Hit on the ground to the third baseman. Thomas goes to second, on to first. Double play, and the Gators have won the series. 19-11 the final. Gators get that 13th win that they felt like 3-3, 7.71 ERA facing Collins, who's the 9th man to bat in the inning. Still a long way away from the 17 men that the Gators sent to the plate in the 4th. But the Dogs have at least made it interesting here in the bottom of the 8th. Collins behind 0-2. Fisher 0-2 pitch outside. Is that the sweeper?
That's the sweeper.
It's 1-2. Gonzalez out there at second. You see him in your screen. Had the 2-run double. 1-2 pitch to Collins. Almost pulled the trigger, but didn't. It's 2-2. Been the #1 on-base percentage player in the country pretty much the entire season over the last couple of months. 2-2 pitch. Nice play by Curlin. Gonna throw him out. Got it on a short hop on a hot shot to him. But the Dogs score 5 in the inning. We'll head to the 9th. It's